Hello everyone, welcome to this session. We're going to jump into a quick introduction. I'm Mark Fiddy from Danfoss in the UK, and we've got with us today John Broughton, the Global Applications Manager. Over to you, John. Just say hello and introduce yourself, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Mark. Thank you very much. So, hello everybody. I'm Global Application Manager with a focus on commercial refrigeration and also condensing units for Danfoss.
Great. So today we have a guest. It's Tom Hanaby. He's the Managing Director of CB Refrigeration in South Wales. So hello to you, Tom. Thanks for joining us. A warm welcome from Danfoss Cooling.
Hi both, how are you?
Fantastic. It's going to be a great event. So we're gonna jump straight into the theme on what we're going to talk about today, guys. So Tom, in this session, we're going to talk about your experience with condensing units and a hot topic, specifically Danfoss Optyma package units and the transition to lower GWP refrigerants, namely the A2L refrigerants. I'd really like and appreciate your experience of these A2L refrigerants, the existing range of Optyma package units, and to reflect on our site visit where we visited one of your sites with your engineering manager, David Harwood. We've also got a pre-recorded film we recorded to reflect back on that site visit and go through the features and benefits of the Optyma package condensing units. We're going to cut to that film a bit later, so we'll just start the conversation, and I think John is going to jump in with the first question here and get the ball rolling. So over to you, John.
Yeah, hi, Tom, Mark again. Just to say that we had a really good chat with David on site. Really nice job, really nice installation. He can't be with us today, but just wanted to mention him because that was a really good day when we spent some time on site. So just thinking about the types of products that you specified, Tom, for commercial refrigeration, what would you normally specify for a project, and why do you specify?
We have to look at what the customer's needs are, and each application is different. Predominantly, the Danfoss Optyma range fits most of our clients, being in retail, convenience, hospitality. We put them into quite a lot of pharmaceutical projects. I think choosing the products comes down to reliability. Obviously cost comes into it, but as a business we tend to focus on not necessarily being the cheapest, but definitely adding the best value and giving a true lifetime cost, which I think coincides with the Danfoss brand and range. It does last and has very few problems.
Okay,
that's great to hear. That's good. Thanks for that feedback, Tom. If we could just step back and hear a bit about CB Refrigeration and the services you provide for your customers in the UK. Tell us a bit about your business and what your engineers do, the areas they cover, and what sectors you serve, Tom.
Yeah, so CB have been trading over 50 years. In fact, it's 52 years this year.
Yes, I saw the anniversary, actually.
Yeah, we've been going a long time. Refrigeration company. We look after plethora of large and small customers on refrigeration, air conditioning. We do a lot of electrical work. That is also completed by our partner company, AJ Group. We have engineers all throughout South Wales and South West and through the Midlands in the UK. So from a service point of view, we offer quite a large region, probably a good third to half of the UK that we cover. On an installation front, we carry out installations throughout the country, depending on where our clients' head offices are, distribution centres, etc. So in a nutshell, we're a commercial refrigeration business and strive for engineering excellence.
Okay, and talking of key customers, and it sounds like you've got some big accounts you serve in the UK. What makes you choose the Optyma Plus brand and or the Optyma Plus and the Danfoss brand? What grabs you about using our packaged units and components, Tom?
I think that's the point, is that they are a packaged unit, and with the market conditions the way they are now, you need to be able to fit new equipment quickly and cost effectively. If a customer's got a walk-in cold room, walk-in freezer, multiple cases within a store down, that's got to be rectified very quickly. And so the Danfoss range is quite large and varied, and so there's usually a product to fit either the application that's needed and the cost. I think the cost is better. The other big one is the distribution network that you have. So we could have it here in South Wales or up in Newcastle, and we can get the parts, we can get the unit wherever we are, and that's a big plus as well, is the network available in the UK.
Okay, that's great to hear. Thanks for that feedback, Tom. It sounds like our channel partners are coming useful for your for the supply of our products. So thanks for that feedback.
Tom, just going on to the refrigerant situation and the F-gas regulations. As we know, the industry is going down the route of low GWP refrigerants. And those can be used in various applications. From your point of view, what do you see the challenges of using a lower GWP, and are your customers aware of the requirement to go to lower GWP-free refrigerants? Things like the A2Ls, the HFOs. How is that from your point of view, but also from your customers' point of view?
I think customers, of course, are only going to know what you share with them. So we make a lot of effort to ensure that we give our customers the best advice possible. And we've produced numerous blogs, white papers on the subject of F-gas, on the phase down that we've got here in the UK, and the need to move to lower GWP refrigerants. We, as a business, ensure that all of our engineers are ahead of the game in regards to being qualified from a safety point of view to work and through to CO2, because we know that the natural refrigerant option is the future. We can't carry on the way we are. So I think from every touch point, our engineers understand the need. Our customers, when we talk to them, we tell them, we share it on social media. We create dilapidation reports for our clients, and we'll then explain steps and give them a roadmap for the future. So we'll say, look, this is what the future looks like if you do nothing. It's very, very expensive, because if that piece of kit fails and you've not planned to sort that out, we're not going to be able to repair that, say 2023, 2024 up to 2030. You're going to have problems. So we try to make sure that we've given them as much information as we can. From them, finally it's their decision. If we've done our job well, then hopefully they'll come along the journey with us and pre-plan those upgrades, those projects, so that it's not a surprise that these things need to happen.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. I mean, there was a session early today where we announced the launch of a new range of Optyma Plus and Optyma Slim condensing units that are approved for use with both the HFO refrigerants such as 454C, 455A, and 1234YF, and also the HFCs as we've got today, 448, 449. Is that a benefit to you having this multi-refrigerant option in one condensed unit, so that you can pick or choose what refrigerant you actually use within that unit as a sort of long-term solution?
It comes back to what I said previously, is that each application is different, each customer is different. They're going to have a different set of criteria to for their thought process of how they want to do things. Also, again, with the application being different, not every small condensing unit will fit to the type of application we want to put it to. So we might have to go with 448A. I think the important is that the customer understands your thought process and how you've arrived there and what the outcome will be. So the fact that it can do both can only be a good thing. Obviously, the lower the GWP, the better. It will become the exception rather than the rule. So it'll be on a job-by-job basis. There will be certain clients, certainly some clients, that won't allow HFOs on their site. They're very few and far between once they understand the mitigations of risk that are put into those refrigerants and those technologies. I think that's our job, and to be honest, Danfoss's job, to make that education is out there.
Yeah, I think you're very true on that. I think that is everybody's job within the industry, to make people aware of the classification of the refrigerant and what needs to be done to mitigate the risk. Obviously, the risk with the A2L is much smaller than an A3, for example. Okay, no, that's good to hear. I mean, from a component point of view within Danfoss, we've got a range of controls that are already approved for the A2L refrigerants. The famous T2 expansion valve, the solenoid valve, they're all approved for the 454, 455A, 1234YF, and all of the products that we've got. If you go to the Danfoss Call Selector software, you can actually look at to see what product is approved for what refrigerant. So that's quite useful. Yeah, very good to hear. Thanks, Tom.
I use the call selector on a daily basis. Mark introduced me to it probably about 12 months ago or so. I had sort of touched on it before, but I genuinely use it all the time. Probably not so much for the valve selection, but definitely occasionally for small selections on cold rooms and where it's turned around very quickly. I think that's one of the really good parts of it, is that you can quickly, within 5 minutes, do that. Whereas before I was using my own calculations that I've done, and it'll probably take me a few hours to which is still the case. Still got to do our full design work on perhaps larger projects, but when you're talking of this needs to be sorted by the end of the week, by tomorrow, that's where that really comes into its own. You can very quickly get the heat load count, make your selections, move on, and get it ordered. And that's the big thing, is making it, but like with the system, is plug and play. Get it done.
Yeah. That's good to hear. It's good to hear. But very good feedback, Tom. Thank you.
Yeah, Call Selector also, Tom, is very handy. While we're on the subject of Call Selector, for obtaining data sheets, approvals, part numbers for spares. So it really has considered the whole life cycle of the condensing unit and made the product visible, which is the information is there when you need it. So that's a really great point, Tom. Thanks for mentioning that. I think now would be a good time, actually. If I mentioned earlier that we recorded a short film a few weeks ago with CB Refrigeration's engineering manager, David Harwood. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to take a break and watch the film, and we'll be back with you shortly. So enjoy the film. See you soon. We're on a UK site today in South Wales with engineering manager of CB Refrigeration, David Harwood. Could you tell me what those Optyma Plus condensing units are connected to, please?
They actually serve a large ice cream freezer. The room's running between -19 and -22. The systems are charged with R448A. We installed them about approximately 2 years ago. They've run fault-free ever since.
Maybe when we finish we can go and get some ice cream.
That sounds like a good idea. So David, how do you find the units to work on, install and commission?
Yes, they're really easy to work on. We've got 3 access doors. All the components are easily accessible through these doors. The electronic controller just needs a few set points changed to get the units up and running. And the ability to stack the units helped us out with this install. The space was an issue.
Okay, let's take a look at how easy it is to enter the settings into the Optyma Plus controller. And to access the parameter list, we basically press the top button for a few seconds, and then we enter the parameter list, and you can see now that I'm scrolling down through the various settings, and that's really as simple as it is to access the parameters. Let's go down to C33, which is the pump down setting. To access the parameter, we press the set button, and you can see there the pump down setting is set to 0.3 bar, so that's absolutely fine. And then we're back in the parameter list, and we'll leave that now just to default back to the display which shows the suction temperature.
David, let's talk further about the features and benefits of the Optyma Plus condensing units. Have you noticed the reduction in refrigerant charge with the Optyma Plus due to the microchannel condenser?
Yes, we have. These units actually replaced some existing condensing units. When we commissioned, we noticed the refrigerant charge was significantly reduced by 35%.
35%? Wow, that's a significant saving.
And with A2L refrigerants, what are your thoughts about the practicalities of installation and commissioning over a standard HFC system?
The installation process doesn't really change, and it's the way the industry's heading towards the low GWP refrigerants.
We have one of our new products here connected to this freezer room. This is called the PRSC4. The device integrates with any refrigeration asset and monitors temperature, door activity and HACCP alarms. So thank you David and Site for your hospitality.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that short film with David. We can't show it all today, and as you can appreciate, I think once 3 experienced refrigeration guys get together, we'll be here for several hours. So all good things must come to an end. Tom, on a last note, is there anything you'd like to discuss about Danfoss products, solutions, A2L refrigerants, anything at all you'd like to discuss on a leaving note?
I think it's good that Danfoss innovate, because if you didn't, you wouldn't have customers like me.
Yeah.
And it's difficult for a big business to innovate, I know, because there's such a lot to get done from a global point of view. We as a business try to do the very best we can for our customers in order to retain them. Some customers we've had for over 50 years, and I think that one of the things I think we haven't really talked about is the Prosa system. I know that when you met with David, you went through that. I think that's a really important innovation that you've got there. That's cost effective. I think there are lots of monitoring systems out there. There's so many, but I think one of the things that you've done right with that is the quality of the product versus, and the ease that you can do it. But the cost of it, that has to come into it, because
absolutely, yeah.
As a commercial refrigeration company, we're dealing with, they may be a multi-billion pounds customer, but fundamentally isolated sites. They may have a restaurant. That restaurant's struggling for margin as it is, for profit. So if we can show real value and actually give them more than, if you say more than what they paid for, so we give them something and it's a relatively good value proposition, and they actually feel like they're getting better value out of it. And I think that's one of those products So I was just wondering, sort of explain where you saw the process system going and how what type of areas that would fit with our customers.
Well, the great thing about Prosa is, as you've seen with the Prosa Link app, it's super easy to connect to. Literally, the hardware takes minimal time to install on site. It has its own sensors. It has its own internal GSM to connect to the strongest network. So it really is as simple as you guys picking a site and making those assets visible to your clients. This will not only avoid a situation where there's no visibility, and when that place isn't manned, nobody is there to check the temperatures. Nobody is there if the plant goes wrong. It's going to lead to food and stock loss, which can be very costly to end users. The beauty of the Prosa system is the hardware is plug and play. You literally give the device power the hardware up, let it connect to the strongest network, download the app on your smartphone, pair it with your device with the QR code. You then have the ability to add as many users as you want to that account. So it can be yourself from a service perspective. It can be your service manager, your operations manager, facilities. Anyone can have access to that information. So not only is it simple to install, it's easy to use. It's aimed towards the end user. So whether it's yourself, a contracting company, or the end user directly has the ability to obtain that information from his smartphone. So in the event of a failure on site, you would get a push notification on your phone and you'd be alerted of high temperatures. You've got the automatic HACCP compliance temperature logging. So the hazard analysis and critical control point, which is a food safety standard, that would generally be done by end users manually. So what we're doing is we're taking that trouble away from the end user that they haven't got to log the temperatures on an hourly basis. It's all done on the phone. And it gives yourself visibility of the plant and the operation of the system, as well as the end user. So it really is a win-win situation for both the end user and the contractor. So
I think one of the sort of stumbling blocks with the monitoring, especially when you're talking of restaurants, public houses, perhaps small convenience stores, is that they've got their 1 hourly check that they do currently. And what they also do is they do perhaps some other checks in amongst that. They might check, they may check the lights and such and so on and so on and so on. They create like a more value check. And so one of the things that I think that the biggest point that they'll get is that push notification, because public houses and restaurants, because we know our customers really well, restaurants, and especially restaurants and public houses, they don't call the fault in generally until it's too late.
yeah,
If people already have defrosted all of the food because they've been busy serving, working really hard to look after the customers out of house, by the time that they've noticed that the freezer has gone down and that it's at +2 or -2, it's too late. And I think that piece of work, that it gives you that push notification on your phone, that's the key bit. And so with that push notification, does that have the ability to give it to the phone and give it to, say, a computer as well,
yes.
a head office, or perhaps after the contractor, we get those secondary notifications via do they do it via email, or is it purely on a?
Yes, you get push via text, and you get email notifications as well. So it's part of the package that you would get that. And if we talk about large chains, for example, so if you've got 50 dining facilities which need monitoring, we have the AllSense system as well, backed up in the background, which can automatically generate those reports from that device into the AllSense system and give your clients full visibility of their assets across the estate.
Mm-hmm.
So the alarm handling can be managed, the energy consumption can be managed all by our AllSense system.
That is something.
Another advantage of the Prosa is you don't have to have complex network cables. So Cat5 communication cables, you don't need to run any comms cables to the device because all of the magic happens within the hardware. So literally, you give it power, the power light comes on, the GSM connects, and the communication light will come on the device within a couple of minutes. So
I think that's one of the big selling points for us as well, is that it does seem as simple as that, and so your installation cost is very small.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of the more complex systems we fitted take a long time to install and even longer to commission and set up.
Yeah.
And so it makes the cost to a small customer or even a big customer. We've got customers with thousands of sites. Well, that's just thousands of times the money that needs to be spent to I think that this day and age that there are, as with the process, there are systems available that will give you perhaps good headlines, keep you compliant, give you what you need, but for good value, and that's what is the value and good engineering.
Yeah, absolutely. It was also good to see the site we went to, which we had in the film earlier. We had a Prosa Direct fitted, which was monitoring a freezer room, I believe. So that was really great to see, Tom, that installed on that site. So, John, is there anything you'd like to say before we exit?
Sorry, Mark. Just on the Prosa, to be honest, because when we were on site with David, he basically said exactly the same thing. It was incredibly easy and quick to set up, very intuitive. So from a person doing it on site, he said absolutely fantastic, very quick, very simple, very intuitive. So very good. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. Thanks for joining us, Tom.
Thank you.
Really interesting topic. Great to see you again. Have a good rest of the day. And for the viewers, myself and John are happy to continue this discussion on the topics which we've raised. So the Optyma Plus and the Optyma Slim Pack A2L refrigerant range. And thanks for sharing and listening to Tom's experience of our ranges. And my colleague has put a link in the bottom of the page to the breakout session, which will be there in a few minutes. So we look forward to talking further. And thanks very much for tuning in and listening. And we'll see you soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.